All right, welcome back everyone. You know, I usually don't start these reviews by showing the box, but I just wanted to show you this one because it's obviously not from a Western country. So I wanted to show you this. This is a Jaki set from China. And I just wanted to try this out and see how it holds up. Obviously, it's just a little brick set, so I just wanted to see how it goes together and what things are like. So there's the box for it. Let's get to the set. So here we have the set, and you can see it's actually, due to the cables, it stretches out quite a ways. But if we try to fold it back in here, there we go. Doesn't take up too much space, and you see I put it in my hand. Fits easily in your hand. You know what, I'm gonna unplug these so they don't keep dragging over and making that awful noise every time I move this. So let's unplug these. Let's check out this part on its own. You can see the outside is just a box. It's got its plug back here. This is where the mouse plugs in with this little connection. The keyboard connects right up here. And so what we're gonna do, we're just gonna look at the aesthetics, just see how it looks. And then we'll go into quality, because there are some quality issues. And then we're gonna take a look at the instruction booklet. You can kind of see how that's all laid out. So as far as aesthetics go, I mean, it looks fine, absolutely fine. You know, I got this set because it obviously popped out at me. Seeing this come across your screen, you're like, whoa, I have not seen something that looks like that in a long, long time. So I wanted to get it, check it out. And I think it came out looking, you know, exactly like you'd think. It's really, really kind of a cool little piece. Let's go ahead and open this up and see what it's like inside. There we go. Pop it open into two pieces. Here you just got the box on the outside, the case. If you look inside, that's where all the little pieces are to make up all the inner workings, and it's pretty cool. I'm trying to remember how much this set cost, if it was like $7 or $8. I think for that, I mean, it's pretty nice. Doesn't take long to put together. Yeah, so there that is. And this just slides back in here. Pop, there it goes. Keyboard and mouse, nothing too fancy here. Just a little piece on the edge. And then the mouse, this piece, it was printed on. This little gray rectangle was just printed on, so that's not a sticker. The only sticker for the set is the screen, which there are different options. I went for the one that was just on the box because maybe I'm just boring like that, but you can see we've got the happy face, hello, heart, lightning bolt, and sun. I don't quite remember, it's supposed to be a Mac, right? I mean, I'm older, but I'm not that old that this is like something I really, you know, hold in my memory when these things came out. So this happy face, I want to say that's Macintosh, right? And that would pop up on the screen, or maybe when you start it up, it says hello. You're gonna have to help me down in the comments and let me know exactly when these icons popped up and how they were used. So I said, this looks familiar. I remember my dad had an old Gateway PC with the floppy disk in there that you could use, you know, several of them to install games with. So yeah, I just definitely had to have this. You know, pulling at that nostalgia, I couldn't say no. So that's it. Pretty simple stuff. Okay, let's jump into quality. Quality then. You can see this front part, this space in here, where it kind of connects and it doesn't quite go flush and stay in there very well. There's some other parts. You can see up here on the top, you can definitely see that space. That would be nice to close up and stay closed up. Other parts are just some pieces. They don't always want to stay connected together. It's like the pegs and the slots aren't perfectly matched up. So some of the pieces, in fact, I shouldn't have done it, but before I started this piece had like kind of floated up or pushed itself out. So I had to push that back down before I even started the video. So there's some of that going on. Not a ton, but every once in a while I walk by it and I see it's like, oh, I need to, that piece kind of pushed itself out of position. So you've got that, not a big deal, I guess. The biggest thing, the biggest kind of pain in the butt while building this thing were these cables. Now you have to put, each of these pieces have to fit into the little rubber tubing here, but the holes in the tube were not big enough for these little pegs. Now I'm going to pull this out and we'll see if it's kept its shape or if I'm going to have to bust the ends of my fingers off again to try to push this in here. So let's pull this off. If I can pull it off. Man, maybe I can't. Let's see here. Maybe I shouldn't. But believe me, you can see that little ridge right here. That's because I had to push and twist and, man, work like all get out to get that thing to go in there. I was afraid it was going to rip the tubing. And the same goes for this little piece on the other side. You can see where it's kind of bulged out there where it connects because the holes were just so small. This one too. Here's another one. So I had to do 4 of these and just absolutely wreck my fingertips trying to get those, wedge those things in there. So, I mean, there's a couple of small things. Like I said, the spacings, the pieces don't want to stay together perfectly all the time. And then the tubing is just nonsense. Why would they make the holes so small on these things? But other than that, quality-wise, I guess it's what you'd expect for $7 or $8. And like I said, I purely got it for aesthetics because I thought it looked cool, not because I thought it would be some high-quality piece. Okay, next up, I want to take a look at the instruction book, kind of see how they do things differently here too, because some of this can be a bit annoying at times. Look, when it first comes up, let me get that glare off of there. It tells you got to use these pieces, right? But we've got 2 different shades of gray. If you see here on the keyboard, you've got light gray and dark gray. And it's not always, you know, perfectly clear of which shade of gray you're supposed to use. You can see them easily when they're put together, but when it's just one of them, I don't know. When I first started out, maybe that's just me. Maybe it's my eyes going, but I was like, is that the dark gray, the light gray, or the bone color, whatever it is? But anywho, also, you can see, I'm gonna try to make this so you can see it easily. When you've done pieces, so here on this step, these pieces are all their colors, but then when you go to the next step, those all turn white because you finish, those are part of a prior step, so they just make them turn white. And the new pieces for this step are in color, which is terrible if you have white pieces, because then you're like, is that a new white piece or is that part of the old ones? So let's look here. Like some parts, it's not as hard, but like here, see this one. You see we've got these white pieces up here and you're like, oh, are those from the last step or are those part of these new ones? This set it's not terrible with, but I have done sets in the past, some of these Chinese made ones, where it gets a little impossible to tell which were the old ones and which were the new pieces for each step. Sometimes they just highlight them and it's almost impossible. But then you got to be careful and make sure you don't miss, because here you see all these black pieces you put on. Then the next step, those all turn white, and then you're putting these on, and you have to make sure you're looking at the whole thing to make sure you've put all the correct ones down for that step, because it just shows you this one. But then you got to remember, okay, that's in color, that's in color, that's in color. Let me go here. Okay, it shows me this, so I know to do this, but wait, do I need to put this one? Okay, that's in color, I need to, and there's nothing up here. So you get used to it as it goes along, but there's just some times where you're like, wait, was that prior or is that a new one? So that can definitely be done better, because even though you get used to it, there's still times when you're second guessing yourself and the instructions and having to look at, double check everything, and you're like, wait, that's new, that's old. So not a big deal, especially for a small set. I hope I have some other Chinese sets, and if they're the bigger ones, and if they're the same, man, that could be really annoying. It's like, oh, add one piece way over here on this side, but don't forget this little piece where that's in color over here too. So we'll see. We'll see how those go. But anyhow, that's the only things I have to say about this. Like I said, wasn't expecting much from just a $7 set. So there it is. Please let me know down in the comments what you think. If you've done any of these sets from the Far East, let me know. This one, like I said, it's the Jaki one. I know there's other stuff like Sembo and Kata. I've got, I think, a couple Kata sets and Sembo sets. I'm going to try to put together and see how those compare. Like I said, this one was alright for the price. I'm not going to gripe too much about things. I had a lot of fun making it, and it looks perfectly fine sitting on the shelf. And that's what matters most, huh? Anywho, thank you guys so much for watching. As always, please like and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. And I will see you next time.